Good afternoon, Devil Dog Day Trade community. Welcome to our live streaming special. This afternoon, what we're going to do is just track the FOMC press conference that's happening here in about another 4 minutes or so. We'll track that through, and we're going to watch crypto setups throughout that. I've got a bunch of them mapped. I've got some stuff set up on here on the dashboard and a bunch of zones set up that we want to look for and just watch to see what happens during this event today. Just heads up, this is the first time I've done this with crypto. Usually I do this and watch these things when they happen live with our normal trading process. We got through that this afternoon with the we had good prep for it this morning. We had a couple of zones that worked out really well for us during the day. There's some nice quick day trades. Did a couple of other additional smaller time frame trades at the 2 p.m. Announcement there. That just to move the stops and targets around there to take advantage, or rather to mitigate any potential issues that we would have with any big moves from the announcement there. And as you saw, before we get into some of these things here, just a real quick overview of what's been announced so far. So they released their minutes of it, and so what we saw was the rate schedule has changed a bit. It's a little bit more aggressive than what was originally planned before. And interestingly enough, all of the indexes went up with that news. That's a little bit out of the ordinary. Typically speaking, in a more aggressive rate increase schedule is bad for the overall index markets. And so I was actually kind of expecting that to be a little bit of an initial drop there, and then wait for the press conference to see if there was going to be any additional comments that would potentially bring them back up again. The opposite has happened now, which is why it's very difficult to ever try and predict what the market's going to do with any particular news. So with that, I'm monitoring, the other markets that we look at, the futures market, Forex, etc., on another one of my dashboards here. So if something drastic happens there, we'll certainly take a look at it. But the main goal here was to watch and see what happened with crypto. And so what you see here, I got just a dashboard set up with the top 4 cryptocurrencies that I like to watch. These are ones that seem to, generally speaking, move the markets or be, sort of kind of like an index fund where where one goes specifically. You get Bitcoin and Ethereum here in the top 2 boxes where where they go, other markets typically follow. And generally speaking, what we saw over the last couple of hours was a pretty a moderate, I guess, not really significant in the bigger scheme of things, but a moderate increase in nearly all of the currencies. And you'll see things like here on Ethereum, right, where this dashboard is set up, and I've actually got this set up as this is a 60-minute zone elsewhere, but you'll see that worked out, nearly perfectly, where we came right up into a nice supply zone, and sure enough, dropped right down out of it and continuing down here. So every once in a while, I might just jump over here and take a look at this dashboard, but I do want to go ahead and look at some of the individual ones themselves. And so I want to drop down. Sorry, I think I need to go over to this one right here. And now I'm on load to chart layout. We want to go to DD. Okay, we're on the right one now. And I'll just start up top of the currencies that we're tracking right now, and then I'll look at some of the other bigger ones too. And of course, if anyone has anything that they want to take a look at, just post that in the chat and we'll pull it up and take a look at it for you. But just from Bitcoin's perspective, right, what we saw here was overall bigger move down. You can see here on the 240-minute chart that just like Ethereum, they came up into that 60-minute area. We came back up, tested this 240-minute chart, and now moving back down out of it. Certainly not surprised at that activity right there. These were pretty strong zones, good solid structure there. So again, wasn't surprised to see something, to see price move down out of there. Nothing else that's really popping up here. I'm just going to flip through these quickly, just in case there is something here that we want to take a look at it. For AMP, you will see that on the 60-minute chart here, price popped up right through this first zone into the second one, is now coming back down. Again, you kind of get an idea here of what of what these things look like when they're correlated together. So in this case, you would have had Bitcoin coming up into a chart, AMP coming up into a zone, and then Ethereum come up in a zone all at the same time. When that happens, those are within our other securities, particularly things like the index markets from the futures perspective, or any other normally correlated markets. When that type of activity happens, that's very, very positive stuff, and you can usually expect a reasonable move out of those areas there. Let's look at Clover, and nothing. I don't have any zones here, John, on that one that this responded to. Look at SHI, and again, we're still, this one didn't move nearly as much, so we're still down in this pretty significant daily zone down here. CRO, nothing that it responded to. We do have this area on a 60-minute chart that's just above where prices turn now, so you could certainly potentially see if price does bounce back up here again. We might get a good push down from this area. And all right, bringing up Dogecoin. We got that big push up the other day from Elon Musk's tweet, and then it hasn't done anything. It hasn't really set any new zones either from that big move up here. XLM, don't have any zones that we hit at all there. ANKR, we're still down in this daily zone here and got a couple of other zones above it, but nothing that's close. QNT, we did come down and just, earlier today spiked through this 240-minute area here after it bounced out of it, and then it didn't hit anything else that we had seen there. So, again, FET, didn't have any zones drawn on here at all, so nothing to really look for how it moved against it. Spell, nothing here either that we were tracking from a supply or demand perspective. And then IoT, we had looks like responded very well to this 240-minute demand zone right here. Came right down out of it. We've got this formation right in here that we're interested in. But again, we're still on an overall downtrend, so longs here are not not the highest probability. So just generally speaking, the way that these announcements go, the ones every quarter where they have the press conference, typically speaking, what you'll see is some of the bigger moves happen during the press conference or right after it. Because that's when you get to hear, the Fed chairman in his own words explain what's going on, and in particular when some of the reporters start asking him questions, you might get either an unexpected response, or they might share a little bit more of kind of what happened behind the scenes, which can sometimes cause the markets to move a little bit more erratically. All right, I'm going to flip over to our overall tracking list. We've done this by market cap, so we can kind of see some of the bigger ones here. And again, we've already looked at Bitcoin, Ethereum, nothing else is moving here. The US one, again, that ones we don't track. So DOT didn't hit anything on this move up or down. We already looked at Dogecoin, AVAX. We saw, pretty good responses here to this 15-minute area, and we are approaching a daily zone now as well. I'll bring this one up so we can take a look at this. So we're approaching a really good structure here on daily zones, so it would not surprise me at all to see even maybe some potentially bigger moves coming out of here. All right. I already looked at Shiba, Matic. We had these, just bring this up a little bit bigger here for these 60-minute zones, right in between them, both. So we'll, this is just another heads up to you that we'll be tracking these and putting them in here. Something like this, especially when we're going through metrics for how we're going to build our rules from. Something like this a missed entry here, make sure that you mark that as a missed entry early on. Because what you may find out is that some of these cryptocurrencies need a little bit wider zones. And so if you track that level of data with them, you'll actually, that will start showing out after 30, 40, 50 zones, and you track that and say, hey, look, I'm consistently missing these entries, so let's expand that zone out there. So just another good indication of how you can effectively track data points. Again, this is only for when you're building your zones. You don't want to track that for overall performance. CRO, I think we already looked at that on the other chart. WBTC. We had this 240-minute area hit again. Looks like we had this hit on several of the currencies. So we knew this one was going to be a pretty strong zone here. It's definitely holding things down again. I think that the upper zone is probably a little bit stronger overall. But again, remember, we're still in a downtrend here. So you would be any of the shorts here would be taken with the trend. Litecoin still holding on this daily zone down here. Very, very, very strong one. Prices come into this 1, 2, 3, 5 times now. So again, very, very strong zone. Definitely expect price to keep moving up out of here. UNI. And now we're starting to see a little bit of pickup in the index markets as well. So apparently the comments that he's making seem to be responding. The market's responding positively to them. So index markets are going up. You had a little bit of a bigger drop in bonds, and now you've got the dollar coming back down and euro going up a bit again as well. Uni, we hit this 240-minute area as well. So this is like about the 4th or 5th currency that responded in this same area here, and it's holding it down now. Again, the upper zone is probably a little bit stronger in this particular area here, and you would still be with the trend taking that trade there. Algo, we did not hit anything that we had previously drawn up already. Overall, still in a downtrend here, but we got this, 2 days in a row, a little bit of an up move again. And let's see, Link came very close to this 240-minute area right here. Still, again, these would be shorts with a downtrend, so highly probable trades. And keep going through. You got BCH now. We came up and hit this 60-minute area. So Bitcoin Cash looks like it moved up a little bit higher than Bitcoin did overall, but again, got another good solid zone here that we did expect to work, and it is. And let's see what we got. No, UST. This is another one of these linked to a dollar one. So XLM. Nothing that we had drawn here on zone to take advantage of for this particular move. And then DAI is again another one of these that's tied directly to the dollar, so you're not going to see a lot of movements there. Nothing to really track. I'm going to flip back over to my dashboard look here. We'll just again take another quick look at what all these four are doing on a 15-minute time frame, and we're starting to see a little bit more strength coming back in. So apparently the crypto markets like what is being said in the press conference as well, and which is interesting. I'm not watching the press conference live and listening to it so we can do this, but apparently what he is saying is calming the nerves, calming the fears, as it were, of anyone listening, and the overall financial industry as well, that even though these rate hikes are coming a little faster than what was originally scheduled, there doesn't seem to be any panic over that, which is obviously a good thing, right? We never want panic. There's no need to fear, no need to bring emotion into this. If you got a good solid trading plan, especially the way that we run it here, with having having the supply and demand as our main drivers, you never have to worry about emotion getting into play. You just trade those zones, and as we've seen now, several of them have worked out very well, even in the crypto areas here. So let me. Nothing significant happening right here now. Let me just flip over to TradeStation real quick and take a look at one of the dashboards that I have set up here. We can just get a quick look at the normal markets that we typically use right now. So these are all the ones that I track on any dashboards that I set up. You got your indexes across the top, some of your correlation markets in the middle there. And then a lot of the commodities futures on the bottom, including the Japanese yen as well from a currency perspective. And so what you're seeing, generally speaking, is that the index markets with that very strong move up at 2 p.m. and a little bit of a dip between about 220 to the 230 mark, and the Fed chairman seems to be allaying concerns and fears, and there isn't any significant fear factor coming in that's causing any major sell-off. So overall, it's a very positive day. Generally speaking, if you go back and look in time, what you'll find is that the index markets do tend to drop off about 1 to 2% within the day or so after a Fed announcement. So don't be surprised if something like that happens and we get a little bit of a dip. And then just to bring back a couple of other comments that we talked about this morning to kind of close those out. Just some levels that we were looking for from the ES perspective. We had said on the 240-minute chart we were looking for these areas here. Anything that dropped below this 45.94 area, look for the much bigger move down. If we break through this one up here, that's showing we got a little bit of strength, then we would look to take additional longs here. And I think we had the same view just about across the board. Yep, same thing for the NQ. Right, here are your levels there. And we stayed right in the middle of them. So again, whichever one of these breaks first, that's going to be your good indication that you'll get some additional movement in that direction. And I think we had, let's see, RTY did not have quite the same thing on the 240-minute chart, but we were looking at this one on a daily one. And so I'm actually going to move this line down a little bit further because this is really the area that we need to break right here. And so if we zoom in on this, you'll see these are the areas, right? If it breaks down below the purple line here, that's going to be the indication that we're going to have a bit of a bigger sell-off. If we come back through and these demand zones or supply zones don't work, then that's going to be an indication that price is going to continue up for a bit. So with that, let me just flip back over real quick to the crypto view, see if anything else there has changed drastically, and nothing has. We don't see any significant erratic movement. So we'll go ahead and call it quits for this one. Relatively uneventful, nothing too crazy going on here. It was just interesting to watch. I've got a bunch of data points to now go log. So we'll have a better indication for next month when the announcement happens of what we can look for, and so we'll have, we'll be able to do additional, more involved sessions with crypto. Maybe even start taking some trades next time or set something up so that if we get some of these spikes, we can take advantage of it. So appreciate everyone tuning in and watching this. If you have any questions or comments, leave us a note, and we'll make sure that we can add that to the list of things to cover. Get a response back to you. Again, appreciate everyone joining this, and have a happy and safe trading day. We'll see you all again tomorrow morning at 8:15 Eastern Time for our standard live show.